Hi, I am Dr. V.K. Gautam, Director Professor Orthopedics, Maulana Azad Medical College. I have been teaching and training students for the last 35 years. So today I'll be taking a class on X-ray reading. So today's class is particularly meant for reading the X-rays related to bone and joint tumors. Subsequently, in further classes, I'll take other types of X-rays also. And I will like to advise the MS and DNB students particularly that whenever an X-ray is shown, don't be judgmental and immediately try to give a diagnosis, because as in a long case or short case, you are expected to support the diagnosis with the findings of the X-ray. So it is desirable that you first pick up all the positive findings in the X-ray, and based on that you give a final diagnosis. So with this, we'll start the first X-ray. And I will also like to highlight the importance of plain X-rays in the diagnosis of bone and joint tumors. You see, though there are multiple investigations available like CT, MRI, PET scan, they are all important. But for the diagnosis of bone tumor, the best investigation still is a plain X-ray because it has characteristic findings. For further evaluation or staging of a tumor, then more investigations will be required to find out the grade and stage of a tumor. So one must be very conversant with the plain X-rays of bone tumors. And the diagnosis of plain X-rays rests on a tripod of biological behavior, radiology, and pathology. Now I'd like to explain these three first. So you see, many times in our department in MEMC, the pathology residents often come to us to find out the possible diagnosis which a clinician is making, and they also go to radiology department to find out their diagnosis before reporting the X-ray. Often it is understood that pathology is a supreme court of appeal, but it is not so. They can commit mistakes unless all three things are correlated. A myositis ossificans, which is aggressive, can be confused with the osteogenic sarcoma if the correct information is not given to the pathologist. So a clinician is at an advantage that he knows all three before making a diagnosis. And whatever X-rays I am going to show you, I have clinically seen them, I have diagnosed them and treated them also. So you are at a big disadvantage compared to a radiologist. If he teaches you, he only teaches the X-ray. But I am correlating everything like a DNB or MS examination. So biological behavior means that how the tumor is progressing. I'll give you an example. Now suppose some patient comes that he says for the last 8 to 10 years I have a swelling in the thigh which is not increasing in size. That means it is not very aggressive, unlikely to be malignant, likely to be benign, except chondrosarcomas which can sometimes be very slow growing. Or another case says that he has a swelling in the tibia. The swelling came first, followed by pain, and now it is gradually increasing in size. That is highly suggestive of a malignant tumor. Okay, so this is biological behavior of a tumor, which you have to correlate with the. Now, with this, I would like to introduce the concept of various types of osteolytic lesions which you see in the plain X-ray. So, you have already seen a geographical lesion. The two other types of osteolytic lesions can be a moth-eaten appearance. Moth-eaten means there are multiple small holes in the bone which is involved, and ultimately they may coalesce with each other, but to begin with there are multiple small holes. And the third type of reaction is permeative type of reaction. This is along the longitudinal planes, just like a crab which is lying in the sand. Its claws are eating into the sand, thereby leading to longitudinal streaks of penetration. So these lesions are generally very malignant. So geographical lesion generally benign, moth-eaten lesion generally intermediate malignancy, and permeative lesion generally highly malignant. Now with this slide, I think I'll be relatively more quick because we have read one slide of this type. So this is X-ray pelvis with both hips, and on the left side you find a geographical lesion here in the metaphysis of the femur. But this is not as well defined, and there are some septi. There is no expansion. It is lying in the metaphysis. Everything is fitting like a simple bone cyst, except that there are some trabeculae inside, whereas in a humeral cyst you found no septi inside. So the reason here is it is still the first diagnosis, it will still be a simple bone cyst. But the reason for this trabeculae inside is that the upper end of the humerus has a trabecular pattern with the principal compressive trabeculae, tensile trabeculae, and all the trabeculae may not be destroyed, leading to some residual trabeculae giving this type of appearance. So in this case also, the first diagnosis will be a simple bone cyst. Now, next X-ray is X-ray of the knee joint, and the X-ray belongs to a patient with skeletal maturity. So since in this X-ray the lesion is eccentric, geographical, with a fibrous margin present at the upper end of the tibia, and one posterior cortex is already destroyed. So this is likely to be a chondromyxoid fibroma, which is more aggressive than the previous lesions which I had shown. So let us come to the next slide. The slide shows a X-ray of the femur along with the knee joint, and there is a lobulated kind of osteolytic area. Lobulated means it is not clear, but there are kind of lobulations here, and one cortex here is slightly destroyed, but inside there are septi. So, and there are one or two lesions